Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of four, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham, and this is BK. Brother, thanks for coming in short notice.
Happy to be here.
I wanted to get this out of my head and onto this while it's still fresh, right? So this is a big deal. And tomorrow we got another podcast, so thanks for all your hard work, man. Let's start with the main event. We haven't done that much in one trip, but it proved it could be done.
Yeah.
So very excited in that. We talk about Able Shepherd, and just for those of you that don't know about this, when I came onto the scene, I meaning from SEAL teams, from CIA, GRS, had kids and handed them to someone else. I'm like, hey, I'm handing them to you alive. Sunday school. I expect them to be alive when I get them back, so what say you? Their ability to protect them was substandard at best, and no fault of their own, but kind of fault of their own. Meaning, at best, shooting at paper and saying we're going to protect them. Like, shooting's not protection. It's a different thing. It's a capability within protection, but it's not that you can't switch them interchangeably. So there needed to be a standard. Well, for what? And I would say, well, do you have a gun? Yeah. Are you good with it? And say, I feel like I'm pretty good. And I'd say, it's not a feeling, it's a standard.
Yeah.
Show me. And then you go in and shoot under pressure and miss, shoot a kid, sweep your buddy's face, and I'd say, I disagree. I think you're not good with a firearm. And it's just one dude talking, but I've just seen a little bit of this, and there needs to be a standard, and I would say there's a standard and you're here. So once we drew that line and said, if you have a pistol, and I think it's your duty, and I don't think it's mandated because of the Second Amendment, it's not you must get training, but it should be highly encouraged and incentivized. It's responsible to get training with a firearm and be good with it, right? And then the next thing that you're gonna hear out of anybody's mouth from here, show me. And when you show them and you're good, you go, roger that. I would second that. You're very good with this, right? And you guys are on the same page and you're all good with it. Now we trust you with these kids, right? I think that needs to happen. And even within police departments, we see people that are great and people that are miserable, like fail, not even close. How are you carrying a gun? And that needs to be said out loud. Not to disrespect police officers, but we're paying for a thing and it should be a thing. Yeah. It's like that's just, there's at some point there's got to be a responsibility with a firearm. That's life and death. You need to be able to handle that or you don't get one, right? And that's the whole time you're working. You just don't get one, right? So that part has not being tested. It's not being tested. That way we say print the legend. It's like, I assume you're good. Well, there's no assumption. You got to just make sure you can show me, right? So that's not disrespectful. That's just the truth.
No, and if you're going to drive a car, you take driver's ed, you take a written test, and you have to drive the car with an instructor. Show me.
So GRS SEAL teams, every 2 years, you're going to do an extensive workup. Meaning, back in my day, it's changed a little bit, but it would be, you're going to work up with these dudes for a year and a half and deploy half a year. And then rinse and repeat and start over. And it's not just shooting, it's all of it, right? You're gonna show that you can be standing next to these men, not only pull your weight, but pull more weight than most, or you don't go. Like, that's the deal. You meet the minimum standard or you simply don't go because you're a liability. That needs to happen. GRS, there was a standard, and every couple of years you'd come back and do the full gamut, and if you can't do it, the guys downrange are expecting a dude that shows up that can do it, that can drag me home, right? And if you can't do it, we're not screwing you over, we're helping everybody else, right? Like, they're expecting that dude, and if you're not it, my integrity says I can't send you. Because now you're a liability and somebody could get hurt or killed. So that's just a big, big deal. So we borrowed that and said there should be a standard. We put it out there and then came up with, this is very cool, like at this time we're in, because we just completed a package. I've had that phase schedule that says phase 1, stand there and shoot a gun, right? That's 4 classes. Then you do additional 8 classes, and that's dynamic. Pistol dynamic. You take a test to go from this 4 classes, take a test called Century Certified. That's not much, it's just your first win. Now you can move around with a gun. We call it dynamic pistol. Now you can move around and do tactics in simunition scenarios and in live guns, including tactics. Then you take a standard that's called Protector Certified. That's the line in the sand. If you have a gun, it's some dude in Colorado's opinion that if you're gonna be any good with it, you have to show me a certain standard. Yeah. Now you're responsibly carrying a firearm, right? And I've never had anybody look at these classes and say, that one doesn't belong. I'm like, can't take any of them out. You have to know these, right? You have to be able to show this, or I wouldn't say you're good with a gun, period. Not how well you're going to be able to shoot well, but also not shoot. When can you not shoot? And how do your postures, are you pointing at my head? Like all that kind of stuff. Then you take that, then you can touch an AR. That's another series of classes, and then it's the Able Shepherd test, right? So if you have that Able Shepherd coin and Able Shepherd certificate, I would say you are very good with a rifle and a pistol in concert with each other and know what that means tactically, right? That's what the test is. And then every 6 months you have to stay up and say current and retest and then do that. Why? Because a research told me that I needed these, right? I'm like, man, I'm not seeing what I used to see, right? And then I'm like, hey, look at you, there's the guy, right? So that's what research are for. Like if you had back surgery and you can't walk in GRS, when you go to research and you can't walk, we're like, you don't get that job, right? We just can't send you over there because you need money. We're sending you over there because the guys need you. They need a capable dude. So that's what we did.
The piece I like about the standard is it's one thing to do it by yourself. If I had to go home, clear the house, clear the basement, as soon as there's a second person, the whole thing changes.
Yes.
And now everybody operating at that standard, same language, same body position, same movement, really without talking.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So that expectation that you and I know the same thing, we were brought up the same way, it's interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
So now if a couple guys might be helping out at a school or at an event,
yeah,
it's very modular.
We call it the USA standard: uniform, safe, and accurate. Uniform, are you on the same page? Safe. Are you killing dudes in training? And accurate. Can you hit anything under pressure?
Yeah.
And accurate meaning correct. Is this right? Is it right? Because there's a right and a wrong, and there's rules to this. And if you're winging it, it's going to be apparent that you're winging it, or you're not going to trust it, Uvalde, and then you're not going to go. The problem is there's kids dying. So that's a big, big deal. So that brings us to the main event. We've had people.
One thing I'd like to insert is you have had industry professionals, big names. Everybody watching this has heard of these names, who've put eyes on these trainings, whether in the catwalks or actually participated. They're blown away.
Yes.
Every single one of them is, how did you teach a civilian to do that?
Yes. Yes. We just had one of our guys go to a class.
Teams.
Yeah, a big class. Some of the guys I know, there's Navy SEALs and all that stuff, and they're like, how are you training civilians? Because we can't figure that part out. Meaning, like, how do we do this? And we're gonna get in trouble. And like, brother, I wouldn't ask permission, but I would say if the people that you entrust, say you're on a trip, who are you entrusting to take care of your kids? Is it your neighbors? Okay, do they know how to do this? No. Well, then that's your fault, right? So you're entrusting them. It's not like remember the old Chuck Norris movies when they're about to move the person, he calls his buddies, so they got a shotgun and this guy's got like a pistol and they're just standing out in the street. Yeah. Brother, you're rolling the dice. So you're moving your kid to the car and he has an ND and blows your kid's hip off. You're like, okay, you invited that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh. No, and you didn't train him, so whatever. It's that uncle that goes bird hunting. You're like, hey, grab your gun and come shoot my daughter. Bad call, right? So this is what I learned as well, is once you entrust those people, you tell them, hey, it's your job to protect your loved ones, and then you invest in them, you give them their dignity back. Yeah. Now they feel like a man again because they're appropriately dangerous. Because now they're like, you know what, I think it is my calling to protect my family. And it's like, yeah. Like, well, I didn't get permission. And I've heard this from God. You never got permission to stop. Like, you took an oath for life. So you didn't need permission. You got permission when you asked the first time. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go. Let's do this. So how beautiful is it to go out and go to Maine? Well, real quick. So we got Nick Higgins, we got Bruce Combs, and Jason Campbell. 3 people from parts of the country that they heard a message of me on a podcast, and it was with the American Warrior Society. And on that podcast, 3 people in 3 different parts of the country, like literally that way, and that way, right? Mm-hmm. New Mexico, Maine, and Montana, heard the same podcast. In this case, Jody, who by the way spoils us when we go out to Maine. I mean, I've never eaten so much lobster. There's Clams Casino, there's steak and eggs. There's just like, we act like we're roughing it. We ain't roughing it, not even a little bit, right? So she's just like, they're just really spoiling us, taking care of us. We get out there. She heard me on that podcast. She was listening to it, and Nick had this trainer out, Mike Seeklander, if memory serves, out to his property and done some training and all that. But she heard me talking about my faith with Mike and got him to he's like, admittedly, I'm a Christian, not a very good one. I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about faith. And he was like very uncomfortable, but I'm like, hey man, let's just go. And she was like, you need to hear this. So Nick heard it, couldn't unhear it, and then called. Simultaneously, Jason heard it in Montana and called. Bruce Combs heard it and called, right? So these guys come in from all over the country. Bruce Combs, God rest his soul, the only, he is the only Able Shepherd that was honorary, right? Because he hit us up with a beautiful email that said, brothers, I've been battling cancer, and unfortunately, it's not going the way I'd hoped. And it had been the wish of my life to make it to that standard of able shepherd. People want that validation that, especially in their later years, that last testable thing that I showed up and said, I'm enough, right? And that's what he was pursuing. I started losing that. He said, I'm gonna go home and be comfortable, right? And he said, brothers, I will see you on the other side, So like, I'm gonna precede you and I'll save a spot for you. It was a beautiful email. And at that time, the Sage hit me up, and Neil Pinkham.
Road trip.
And he says, what are you thinking? I'm like, I think we get in the car. He goes, that's what I thought you'd say, right? I get in the truck. We ended up borrowing his wife's Jetta and just saved gas and just took off with a package of, let's do a ceremony just as we would an able shepherd back here. And I mean, we showed up and it was like red carpet, like it was a big deal. Like his family was there. They're like, oh, they're here. And they little walkway, we came in, there was a ceremony, we wore it, there were tears and hugs and all that kind of, it was just beautiful. So it was a super cool thing. Nick and Jason have been training us with us ever since. Literally driving a Sprinter van. He's like, I'm really good at burning diesel fuel. I was like, as incense unto the Lord. It's like burn that diesel gas and come do a good thing. And Nick he's driven his work truck from Maine, from Milford, Maine, to
once a month or quarterly at least.
He's down here a bit. But then he started, Providence Training Grounds he's already had a place to shoot guns, but now it's a proper range. Like it is a very, very nice range with a capability that he just upped extensively, meaning an approximately just under 3,000 square foot shoot house that's done right. Like shoot houses turn into laser tag, and that's not the way to use that for capability, but he's done it right. He's got a 600-yard range where he actually elevated shooting over a river, and then he's got the woods where you can actually, do these kind of maneuvers, and it's a big, big deal. Especially
does he have chickens like your back
when he does. He's got chickens. He's got a little farm thing going on, but it's awesome. And here's what was so unbelievable about that. Okay, let's set the training aside for a second. That culture of you've got cops, you've got SWAT cops, you've got construction workers, you've got, you name it, movie makers, producers. You've got dudes that are there that are all training together and they're humble. We lay down kind of a covenant, and I didn't hear one cuss word like that. And I get it. It makes you feel powerful. Cursing, I believe now, is a lost opportunity cost. You don't know what the lost opportunity. It is a sign of weakness. I don't care how it makes you feel tough. It doesn't mean you're tough. So you're sacrificing real strength for feeling strong, and that's unfortunate. But we just kind of said, hey, here's how we do this. And I'm not going to argue with you, just don't come. That's the deal. If you're going to come, we're going to demand excellence on every level. Like if nobody leaves, you don't get to come and make me worse, right? So you're not going to come and do this and make men leave worse when they've entrusted me with making them better, right? And it's just a non-issue. Once you say, here's the deal, they show up, maybe you remind somebody because they get, oh, dang, whatever, and you say, hey, can you watch your language, please? And then it's good. So I didn't hear one. Nobody was like a drunken fool by the campfire. There was in-depth conversation. Nobody felt like the need to drink or do anything like that, because it's a separate thing. In this industry, it's become this common thing. Let's drink and smoke cigars. And I'm not against those things in their right context. It just wasn't a thing for 4 days, right? Yeah. 4 solid days of training, going to bed tired, campfire, meet early in the morning, and then get after it all day, and then go to bed tired, right? That's what it was. And it was unbelievable. Right? I mean, it's like this is the second year. They just adopted us. I mean, cops are swinging by. They're like, hey guys, what's going on? And sitting there for dinner and hanging out and talking and just saying, hey, we had people that passed, and some of the cops didn't pass on the first run and other guys did. And it was like, oh, hey, you guys are like, hey, well, we didn't get this kind of training. That's why we're here. And it was just honest, right? So now there's this real connection, not tough guy, kind of like, yeah, whatever. All that silliness is just left at the door. So super, super cool, but this is what we accomplished. So right now, we had the Able Shepherd curriculum.
Yep.
One curriculum we're working on is the advanced side. We had A to Y for years, right? And I just wasn't comfortable with what Z was going to be. They're like, just put a Z, just make one up. I'm like, I take it very seriously. Mm-hmm. We went through Z it's very clear now that Z is going to be hands-on. Again, been meeting with industry professionals. His name is Brett. I'll just say that because I won't go do, he's got a secret squirrel guy. I mean, meaning he has a job that needs to be protected, right? But I call on professionals when there's a space I don't know. I'm not like, whoa, I'm a cool guy, I'll make it up. We brought Antoine for the best shotgun breacher that I could muster up. I was like, I want the dude, right? And he loved it. And Brett is the dude when it comes to putting hands on people, right? That's what he does for a living. Very skilled and dedicated to it, and he's humble. He's just a good dude, man, that you want to be around. So brought him in, and now we've completed that advanced A to Z. right? But we've also completed 3 capabilities based on 3 weapon systems, which is unheard of. I've not heard of this, right? I've mentioned this to Marty Daniel Defense, and I said, do you have a Daniel Defense Academy? He says, no, we've worked on that, we've talked about it, we haven't been able to do it. I'm like, you want to hit the easy button? Because I've got it, right? Yeah. We just proved the last piece of that. So we already had, I would say protection. Close protection would be 200 yards and in. It's the DD M4B7P. It's a Daniel Defense, it's a pistol actually, and it is, I would say, next to perfect. Mm-hmm. Don't suppress it, don't do anything. Just as it is, put it, like we've put on fixed sights exactly on our website. That is an amazing firearm unless you change it. If you change it and all that stuff, I pinned a suppressor, didn't like the gun anymore, so I switched it back, whatever. So I got that thing. But it's the curriculum and the test that goes with it called Able Shepherd, right? Then we went out, well, what if you live a little bit further out, or you're in a situation like whether it be SEAL teams or it's the police department, and now you're in a position where you're patrolling. And patrolling can be a broad term. It just means now you got distance. Yeah. So, in the SEAL teams, I carry a 16-inch firearm with glass, that's made for those interactions. So we wanted to keep it, Vortex quality, like a quality thing, but not crazy expensive, right? Just for the working folks that train here. So now 400 yards and in would be the patrol curriculum and test. Now there's an endorsement on your Able Shepherd coin. Yep. If you pass that curriculum and the test, you get a P engraved as an endorsement on your Able Shepherd coin, right? So now it's another cool thing. Now so you don't just own a hobby, you own a capability. Like it's not just that AR in the closet gathering dust. It's me and this AR out to 400 and in can do things, like place rounds exactly, right? Then there's Overwatch, and that's the one we just proved. 2 people passed the curriculum. What does that mean? It means, so I was on a team for Blackwater, USA. A lot of people don't know this. Longest 2 months of my life, it was absolutely miserable stepping off from the excellence of the SEAL teams into the Jankville of Blackwater. Oh, no. It was rough. Like buddies were calling me, and thank you guys, I appreciate it. Hey brother, you don't sound like you. Are you doing okay? I'm like, I'm far from okay. Like working in Jankville when I'm used to dudes having my back I'm not okay. Yeah. But I did commit to this for 2 months, so I'm gonna see it through. 4 American contractors were killed, set on fire, hung from the bridge over the Euphrates, all that, right? And I'm right in the mix trying to get a wrap on things. I'm talking nose-to-nose conversations, about to throw Navy SEALs out the window. I'm like, brother, I don't have any patience for you right now, and I'm about to chunk you out that window. Like it got bad. George Strait probably saved my sanity. Yeah. I would listen to George Strait. I had made a mix CD at the time, and I would drive the streets of Kuwait. That was the base of operations for the Iraq stuff. And brother, I would have to drive so I wouldn't stab people in the night. It was that bad. So anyways, got through that, so I got off on a tangent. So if they would have had the guys that were killed, and this is all hindsight, and I'm not trying to take away anything. I'm just saying back in the day, there was mistakes made, and rear securities were pulled from 2 non-ballistic vehicles. Right? So somebody talked to Iraqi police and trusted them, and you don't do that, but this guy came in from Iraq, and I'm not gonna sit here and sling mud, but I will off camera. But it was just done wrong, and led them into a traffic jam, and then called their cousins or whatever to light them up. 1 car made it out, turned around to save their buddies, which is honorable, and they all died, right? And then set on fire for the world to see, drove through the streets, hung from the bridge, right? In the SEAL teams, there's also a thing that would be like an SR-25, the 308 version of the AR-10, right? So there's a specific mission for that. After Blackwater and after a couple other engagements, then they started that with the agency doing an Overwatch capability, meaning not sniper, because everybody hears, oh, it's a 308, it's a sniper. Nah, sniper's a whole other league. That would be long range stuff and stalking and. But when they needed that, you get in trouble. Instead of me coming to die with you, how about you punch it, get 300 yards away, climb on a roof, and just start surgically solving problems, but don't kill BK. Like that would be Overwatch, right? That would be the appropriate, or closer to home when I was, my team that got lit up in Benghazi, they didn't end up finding a shooting position as I understand it, but they were trying to get a team over the consulate to try to get, an Overwatch capability for the dudes, but they couldn't get the angle, so they came back down and joined the other team. But that gun was always there. You had to qualify on that. In order to pick it up, you had to be qualified on it, so you know what you're doing. Yeah. So you'd have your holds. Primarily holds, meaning not spinning turrets, but we just proved that as well. So 3 capabilities: close in protection, patrol, and Overwatch. And now the curriculum to test, to say, if you can test, I would call you good with these platforms.
And I don't know if you said it, but Overwatch is designed to be effective out to
600 yards and in. As you get in, the targets get smaller and there's a mover. Ooh. I know. So, Nick and Jody out there building this training center, Providence Training Grounds, and just an amazing venue to do all of these things. Jason Campbell's looking at doing something similar in Montana, and I
just thought of something.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. Bruce's coin is 8.5. And who's next? The 86.
86er, is that right? I think that's right. And there is a memorial firearm.
Yeah.
If your gun goes down on the range, or you forget it or whatever, you have to own one to make Able Shepherd, right? But for whatever reason, something goes sideways, I'll hand you a loaner gun, and you have to say, "Thank you, Bruce Combs," and I will hand you an engraved rifle, and then he can get you through your test or whatever. Yep. Awesome. So last year we went out there and just did patrol. That's standard, and I believe Nick passed on that. You can go out there if you have a coin, and you pass, you get the endorsement. If you don't, guys are like, "Hey, do I get a coin?" I'm like, "You don't even," or they go, "Do I get a P?" I'm like, "You have to have a coin to put a P on it."
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what, if you get a coin within 6 months, I'll engrave a P on it, right? So anyways, we did that.
I don't want to brush over that, because when you're out at Providence Training Center, it's not all Able Shepherd coin carriers.
That's right.
So now, if we go back 15 minutes to this comment about how do you teach civilians to do that, you're taking people who may not know the language, may not know
Right.
the safety calls, and instantly they're up to speed.
Meaning local range, Nick's out there,
Yeah.
he gets them up to a certain standard for exactly what we're gonna teach, like get them all sighted in, get them all squared away, practice with them. We come in, provide the tactics, and take them from there, and he's already shown them what we're gonna expect for safety, right? Now, we gotta be careful, we gotta slow down. These aren't Able Shepherds. They couldn't go clear a room with you, they couldn't do all this. But right now, we're focusing on patrol. So I can go out there with Parker and keep that safe, teach them how to do that, right? With Unit Solutions is what we're using. This upgraded, similar to airsoft, but on a more professional level. The technology's in the magazine, and it's fantastic, right? So it's good for what it does, not the best for what I'm about to mention. So we go out there to Maine, and with people, some of these people, very little training, some of them a lot of training. People flew out there from Denver, right, and flew all their tools out with them to do the whole week. Some of the people local in Maine just focused on entries. He just built that less than 3,000 square foot shoot house, so now you're going in there doing entries in one day. So it's more of an introduction guided by an instructor, right? You're not gonna be on your own. We're gonna be down there with you, driving you, because it's the only way to do it in one day. But you're getting enough to where when we leave, you can practice this a lot and get really good, because now you know the bones. You know the foundation of what entries look like, right? So that was fantastic, doing little hostage rescue kind of stuff with entries, and there's actually rules to it, so you're getting better. That was day one, and it was a full day. The next day, we break off into the Overwatch, which is 600 yards and in. We're just going to go and confirm their sight ins, make sure everybody's good. The chronograph out there, and just find out what their velocities are. Anyways, get all that dialed in to map out kind of what we've built. Parker did an excellent job on doing. That's a lot to cover in basically a morning of what's going on with the bullet. Why we're not spinning dials, we're just doing holds because it's only 600 yards. And I say only, that's a really good capability. But you don't have to touch your dials. It means you're gonna get your dope, meaning where do I hold? If you've got that gun and you're a good shooter, it doesn't really matter if you don't have your data card, right, your range card. So getting that thing affixed to the rifle and it stays there, if you've got a competent shooter and a quality piece of equipment, it's gotta have the data. So now you know, if I'm holding at 300, 600, 200, 100, where is it? Now if they were closer, say 90 feet, it's opposite, you're underholding to hit the medulla. It's not like the head, you need to hit a 3-inch square with a little variance saying what's behind this, the medulla oblongata, right, and Waterboy. It just means you snip that thing, that finger doesn't bend. Nothing, no exhale, no blink. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi's robe hitting the deck, right? So that's that test, and if you miss that 3-inch block, then you're out of the mix, bro. But every one of those stages has a score that you must hit or it's a wash, right? So we had 2 people pass this all the way out to 600 yards. So just an awesome, awesome day. Next day we do patrol. We're out there walking with Unit Solutions, not loaded, and we're just getting all the verbiage down base your back, doing all that kind of stuff. Now, you're like, why would we need patrol? That's fire and maneuver techniques that could be used for anything. We can walk through the parking lot. Somebody shoots at us, we're gonna be using those techniques to either get out of there or to punch forward, neutralize the threat, right? So it's okay, it's only one dude, we're going forward this time. Well, how do you do that immediately and end this thing to end up doing an instant flanking maneuver to end up winning that fight, right? So that could be police showing up to whatever, a meth lab, and now you're coming in from hundreds of yards. Those are the techniques that you need to do to employ that well. So we did that. And the shooting curriculum that goes with that, testable, and had, again, people passed. Now, for the first time ever, we did a hostage rescue thing, kind of a child trafficking hostage rescue deal, where we moved in, had Overwatch in a leaf suit. It was Nick. He's doing Overwatch, this creepy house in the woods.
Oh.
Right? That's like, it gives you trauma, like, man, evil's happened here. Set it up, radio comms, take the shot, move in, get the kid, get out the back with Overwatch coverage, popping smoke, the whole thing. It was insane. Then, the first thing that we've done ever, is the live fire maneuver with reactive targets. So our buddies at Range System, thank you guys so much. So Doug's my man, that's my guy, man. He arranged to have these sent out. Now this is what we used in the SEAL teams. This is what we used in the CIA.
And these are like targets on tank treads that are walking.
They're not so much
fields.
walking, so you place these ones.
Okay.
You place them, and here's the in scenario, and this is very safe if you know what you're doing. I used to do this, man. This was my jam back in Land Warfare. So you set it all up. Parker's kind of wide-eyed. Parker's just a quick study. He gets it, but I'm like, brother, you haven't done this, so just by the numbers, you cannot mess this up. You're patrolling through. He's setting up, walking. These guys are walking with him, right? Nick's over here leafed up, and the angle's got to be perfect. He kind of gives the nod. A shot goes off. Tannerite blows up. Boom! Contact right! Now they're getting after it, but there's actually a target with clothes on.
Yeah.
So you shoot this, it falls down, and now it's like they start their maneuvers, either forward or back. And now as soon as you zap it, it falls over. Some of the airsoft and unit solutions, when you're out at distance, you're seeing them kind of carry, and the guy's running. He didn't feel he was hit. It just gets a little bit, whatever. Indoors, different story. It works very well. But when you're in those distances, man, when I shoot the target, I want to see it fall down.
Yeah.
Now, right? Now it can reset, but let me know I hit you, because it's not a lot of confidence when you're shooting it 3 times and it doesn't fall or doesn't do anything. Like, I think I'm hitting it. This one goes down. Like it doesn't stay up.
Is it steel? You get a sound.
So it's
also?
plastic.
Okay.
It's rigid plastic. You shoot it. It's an electric motor with a sensor. So when it falls down, it stays down for 2 and pops back up.
Okay.
So it's perfect. Like you're covering like your buddies. If it stays up for 3 seconds, consider your buddy shot. And they're just singing back and forth, and doing all that. It's just awesome. Making them walk, because some of these guys are newer, but it's like literally by the numbers. High gun, pivot, go this way, dead space, setting that all up. And they've never done this before ever. Mm-hmm. And it's cool, because this is my lineage, right? I'm like, this is so awesome. So we do that, and everybody's just on cloud 9. We do somewhere in there's a book study. And Nick, I didn't call it book club. He's like, don't call it book club. Ladies get together for book club. I'm like, it's book study. So you come to book study on Friday? I'm like, what book is it? He goes, it's your book, The Return of Man. I'm like, oh, you know this. They're like, hey, the author's here. And we had fun making fun. I was like, they're like, Jimmy, anything to add? Because it's cool. You aspire to do something like that. You're like, is anybody gonna read it? And now you've got a group of men in Maine, and I'm like, like men. The best version of that, meaning this toxic no righteous masculinity. These are right by God, or aspiring to be that version of men that would stand up and say, brother, to get to her, you gotta go through me, right? And they're studying this and getting better and highlighting and talking about. They've been doing it for 7 weeks. So they were going over the last 2 chapters, and at the end they're like, Jimmy. And we had fun with it. I'm like, I think it was brilliant how the author here pointed out, and they're laughing and we're doing, but it was cool, man. It's cool to see that God put something on my heart and I threw it out there, and that men are better because of it, right? And today
of all days,
what's up? Go to Amazon right now and type this in. How do you love a fish? The kids book that I've been working on for over a year just got published, and I believe you bought the first one.
Bought one today.
Thank you. I
7 hours ago.
just checked and mentioned. I'm like, oh, check it out, it's up. Because they were like, hey, within the next couple of weeks, I figured it'd be at least another week. And I popped it on, and there she is, right? So very, very cool. Investing into some of the values that I believe our future needs. Our kids need to know this stuff. So just some things we've done with our family. So to get with these guys, take a picture, do all that stuff, and hang with them. The next day, I believe, people started flying home. Oh, no, we did a little photo shoot thing and got some other clips that we wanted. Then Saturday, I did a podcast. So Light in the Darkness podcast. So let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Entries, Overwatch, Patrol, Field Exercises, Unit Solutions, Live Fire, Sight In and Test, Child Trafficking with Hostage Rescue, Leaf Suit, Overwatch, Patrol, Live Fire, Fire and Movement with Reactive Targets, Book Study, The Return of Man, Light in the Wilderness, a podcast with Blaze Saunders and Craig Coursey. new, like it's just sometimes you just find your people. They're just in a different spot. And I find that the more places I go to, the more you're finding these amazing people. Like I've been adopted by the dudes in Milford, Maine, like in that whole area, Newtown, all that kind of stuff. I've been adopted by the guys in Pennsylvania, Frank Short and all his guys out there in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All that men's group and that church up at Jason's place in Spokane, Washington. Like these people are our people now, So same thing with these guys. So it should air here in the next, I'm guessing, week or two. That Light in the Wilderness podcast. Good, solid Christian dudes. This was on like a red stag preserve. Like people go up. I think Don Jr. has been there. Like other people have gone up. And Nick goes, check this out. We drive around and I'm like, what am I looking at right now? Because you're not used to seeing like these red stag. They're huge. Like it's like a deer that's the size of an elk. And the rack is just beautiful. Anyways, that'll be coming out soon. And it was sometimes just a good conversation amongst men just lands. And I believe that's what happened. You just kind of get comfortable.
Every single time.
I forget, it was like a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours, something like that. And it went like that. And I was just like, you're hanging out with buddies and you're just talking. Right, about real things, not just superficial garbage. Good message at church on Sunday, which was talking exactly about what we just talked about. It's funny, the pastor, and he's a great guy, and I met him last time I was out there, and right in the middle of the sermon, he's like, oh yeah, and Jimmy, we're having our thing next week, and if you want to come back, and he's like, usually I don't interrupt service, but I'm like, cool, like we just had a man's week, brother. But it was super cool, and I'm glad to see just pastors that are bringing it and leading from the front. Also on Sunday, because we don't work on Sunday, so just the opportunity. Did you go with us when we saw the movie? Every once in a while we do that Abel Shepherd Target of Opportunity, I call it, movie night. And it was the C.S. Lewis, The Most Reluctant Convert.
I did not
down here, okay. It's basically the C.S. Lewis and his story, and it was done in a unique way. But this is horrible. The only thing I really remember about that movie was one line. When he goes to this guy, his family sends him to a guy called the Great Knock, and he's an educator, and for 2 years he lives and studies under this guy's roof, and whatever, the family pays him, I don't know how it all works, but he was like, at this time we'd wake up and have breakfast, and then we'd study this, we'd study the classics, we'd study this, we'd study that, and remember, like after lunch, like at 1 o'clock I'd go for a walk, for an hour walk, and he's like, now walking and talking with friends are two great pleasures in life, but not to be done they're not to be shared, right? So when you walk to think, and I just remember thinking about that. Like, when do you have time to think? And he's like, no, you make time to think. Like, you just go by yourself. Later, he says, reading and eating are two pleasures that are supposed to be shared together, right? So like when you're, reading and eating, but he's like, when you're walking, go walk, be quiet, that still small voice that, know that I'm God, be still. I love that. I love it.
Get those receivers.
Get those receivers up. And like I said, transmit and receive. If you're not hearing from God, it's never a problem with the transmitter. It's always a problem with the receiver. You're on the wrong frequency, or you're not making bandwidth for it, right? So that was cool. And that kind of landed, and it's been marinating. So I had the opportunity. I'm like, hey man, I want to go for a walk. And because it's Maine, and because it's Nick, I go in his vault and I'm like, 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, but it wasn't the right holster. Yeah. So I had to downgrade to just the 44 Magnum. Yeah, so grab a 44, slap it on this chest rig, and I just go for a walk for a couple hours, right? And it was just awesome. Like Maine in October is legit. Oh. And the weather was perfect, and just go be. And it was cool, and texting the missus and doing all this other stuff when I got back, and it's just get the juices flowing. That was awesome. That was also on Sunday. And then Monday, to top all of this goodness off, have you seen Ken Graves? Have I shared that? Or
No.
Brother,
I've heard of him. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you some clips, and we got to put at least one in here, because the guy is just, when you're just. Some people are just seeping testosterone, right? The dude that somebody called him the Viking Sean Connery preacher or whatever.
Here we go. Hail Jesus, you're my king. Your life frees me to sing. I will praise you all my days. You're perfect in all your ways.
And I saw him here locally. We did a Warrior Summit at Brave Church, and he kind of stole the show, because you just can't unseen. What's seen can't be unseen, and you're like, man, I want to go do push-ups. It's just like, and I was just like, and his message was just on point. It was just direct to men and challenging them, and it was just fantastic. So when I saw him, I remember sending that, and this was months and months ago, to maybe at the beginning of the year, I forget, maybe February. But I sent it to Nick and I said, hey, this guy's from Maine. You know him? He's like, that's my pastor. I'm like, what? And he's like, well, I went over to this town and started doing this to start a church. But before that, I know him personally. I'm like, brother, you got to set up a face-to-face. And I don't care what it is, man. I'll find him and whatever. So this is crazy. We go to a truck stop that was in between us and just on the side of the road because it had good steak and eggs or something, right? And I'm like, cool. So we go in there and it's a truck stop with a little diner. We're hanging out and we sat there for like an hour and something. I put a camera up, just literally my phone with a couple mics and just say, can we just have breakfast? And I just want to talk to you, but man, my guys know who you are. And if I don't capture this, I know it's weird. Let's get past the weird, care less about what these people think and more about capturing this moment and just seeing what comes of it. Set that up. Awesome, get to know the guy, just another good brother that I believe there's a future with here. And I posted a still, took a picture of it. And that still comes back to me through a buddy and he goes, circles and goes, that was me and Lisa. So the SEAL team commander buddy of mine, like Lieutenant Commander, AJ, he's like, that was us behind you. And I'm like, what? Shut up. And I'm like what are you talking about? And he's like, we pulled over, I think they're on vacation, they're from Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm from Denver. We're in Maine on the side of the road on the highway, and then we stop at a diner. He came in another door, and I watched the video. I see them sit down. I'm like, that's Lisa. That's AJ. They sit down, and they're just eating, and then they get up and leave, and we just never saw each other. And part of me is like, what are you doing sitting with your back to the door, brother? Nick had me, whatever. But it was cool. And he's like, oh, lost opportunity, because I would have loved that a couple hours, catch up with him, And I saw him, he came to the men's mission.
Okay.
And I'd seen him not too long ago, but it's just some people are just your people. It'd been cool to catch up with him and Lisa. But it was, what are the odds of that? I don't believe in coincidences, right? So then I texted him and we're reconnected and all that stuff. So just fantastic. So just such a good trip. And I can't even wait. Maybe next year we had breaching. We'll see.
Don't know why you wouldn't.
I don't know why we wouldn't, man. But it's a world-class
Does
training
Daniel's
center.
Defense make a shotgun?
Not yet, not yet. I don't know,
Hey,
Marty, what's up,
Marty.
right? And that's cool. I will reach out back out to them because we did talk a little bit about that. But literally, it's an easy button. Like all three are their products, and it's not a hobby, it's capability. It means come out, learn how to do this, have an attempt at the actual skills that are not easy. They're not gimmies. Got to work for them, but they are attainable because we just had 2 guys pass, the first 2. So having those capabilities of close-in protection, of patrol, and of overwatch, right? And then knowing with this gun, what you and this gun can do together, again, not a hobby, it's capability, which means you can do this, right? And then you're watching dudes stand a little taller, once they're like, this gun rocks. It's like, yeah, you and that gun can do things that aren't normal, They're awesome. Okay, so let's shift gears for a second because we have to talk about the, every year we do a fundraiser to kind of fill the coffers of Able Nation.
Able
right?
Nation,
Able Nation, 501c3 that I'm on the board for, co-founder, me and Neil started it up when people needed assistance for their safety of their school, their church, their civic group, right? Civic group means groups of people, so pretty much anything. But it's got to be legit. It's got to fit that charter. And we do cool things, raise some money, and then we go give it away as long as it's for safety. That could be in scholarships, it could be in medical equipment, it could be in actual security devices, cameras, whatever. But we vet it, and then we kind of vote on it, and then we distribute these funds. And this year after Charlie Kirk, it seemed like, man, if you're gonna donate to something, donate to that. So it was coming up, and it just didn't feel right. We weren't really promoting it much. And we're like, man, this doesn't. So I was like, you guys think about making a donation to TPUSA. They said, yeah. We're in because everybody's feeling that, like we said in the last podcast.
This is the board.
Yeah, the board, right? Like so when the Holy Spirit was ripped out of that body, my Holy Spirit in me felt it, right? Yeah. And there was a morning, and then there was an action phase, and at one point, my daughter's a TPUSA chapter president in her school, and I had met Lena Branch, which is the regional rep out here, and said, what if we donated to them? And I said, well, what's the amount? I was like, well, you guys pray about it, and I'll pray about what will make sure that we're good, but then also glorify God. And everybody came across the board, 100%. 100%. Like, we'll be fine. God will take care of us. We don't really need money. Like, that just seems small at this point. And so we did it, right? And so we get out there, and what it ends up being is an amazing day. Kiowa Creek Sporting Club. Gorgeous this time of year. And if you haven't shot sporting clays, I say it's like golf, but with guns. You're gonna go to hole to hole to hole, so station to station to station. Everything's different. You're gonna set up these different things, and you're gonna shoot. And you're gonna shoot, pairs, like 2, either connected or what it was called, a report pair or a true pair,
Yep.
right? You're gonna do that 5 times, then it's another dude's turn. And then another dude. And as you're going through doing that, when everybody's done, you go to the next one and score it.
Yeah.
And you do that for a couple hours,
Yeah.
right? And it's awesome.
Yeah, like golf, there's 18 stations out there. So.
Yeah, so I think when you reserve it, it's 10. So I think we had the first 10.
Yeah.
And that takes a good bit, right? So I think it'd be all day. if you do
Solid
that thing.
couple hours, yeah.
So it's just awesome. Then there's then come up and there's lunch, and we initially had barbecue, and then we got reached out to.
The setting there, it's Kiowa Creek. It literally runs in a dry creek bed. So you're walking, we talked about that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
In nature with buddies, socializing, and then dial in the focus because now you're in the stand,
Yep.
and you get to see stuff blow up. I kind of like that.
So we also had we did a silent auction, shotgun.
Yeah.
Again, back to Twan. He came out. And we were like, he's like, put a bomb on it. Like, we don't have bombs, man. So we're going to focus on breaching, but it's going to be shotguns. It's going to be manual tools and shotguns. So manual tools and shotguns, but I wasn't a breacher, and I'm calling in a professional, and he's going to teach us to build a curriculum so that civilians can actually do this. Like if your loved one's on this, that's a pretty good door, good solid wood door. And if they're on the other side, I need that door to go away, right? Roger that. So now the shotgun becomes a cutting tool. I've seen it, worked with breachers, but I didn't have enough to teach that, and I didn't want to Google it, right? So we bring in that dude. And we introduced him to Jason had a Genesis 12 breaching shotgun. Mag-fed AR platform, but it's a shotgun. So they're like, let's do a shotgun giveaway. And I'm like, if we're doing a shotgun giveaway, it's gonna be an AR platform, right? Reach out, Genesis 12, we order one, we get it here, and a custom-made guitar built by Joe Huffman. It's just awesome guitar that's a We the People custom. Like I videos of him hand making it and then sound checking. It's beautiful. Both those sold, so those funds are going to go there. I think $12,500, something like that. Nice. Yeah, it's good.
And I think it's worth tying in the Able Shepherd piece of this. Why you got so excited about an AR shotgun? Because 200 yards and in, you know the Hefe model.
Right.
11-inch barrel, all the controls. You go up to 400 yards with the Patrol model, 16-inch barrel. You know all the controls. 308 on Overwatch. You know all the controls. Shocker, the breaching tool has all the same controls.
Right.
And by controls, we're talking safety, trigger, everything.
Yeah. You could have them
That
from a
consistency
22
is beautiful.
to a 301 mag if you wish, all the same controls. I mean, if you're in the military or you devoted time to learn an AR platform, why would you leave that if it's a possibility? Because you don't need to train. Like I've grabbed brand new guns I've never fired before, but the controls were similar to an AR. I think it was the MPX. Somebody just said, hey, you want to shoot this? And I'm like, load it up. Let me just run it. And I ran, tick, 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 and didn't need any training. I'm like, why? Because my hands know what to do, right? And it's a unique platform, but it's like that, okay. Meaning it's same controls, but it was a little, what was it, like a 9mm? I forget what it was. It was fun. It was cool. It's just like, okay, awesome. So now you can have, that's one of the, I mean, you talk about a fun gun. I've got one of those little suppressed 22 ARs. Teach the kids with it, older folks, new shooters and all that. Every time they touch it, they're training for an AR, not just the 22. You don't even need Ear Pro, which is a lot of fun, subsonic rounds. And then going to the bigger one, the AR, then going to a shotgun, then going to a 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, like that right there in that family. Now, I mean, have I been eyeballing lever actions? Yeah. I've been looking at Henry's a lot. I have. So there's some sweet systems, but I'm not grabbing that one as a bump in the night. You know what I mean? So like, having your pistol, I would recommend, and once you go to a family, stay in the family. Like if I've got a Glock, I'm going to stay in Glock, right? If I've got an AR platform, I'm going to stay in the AR platform. When things go boom, I'm going to be like, man, grab a gun and then know how to use it, right? So it's not a hobby, it's a capability. What can I do with that thing? I don't be sitting there wishing I had something else in my hands, right? So stage it. Cool. Special thanks to, I want to make sure we throw this out there. So Kiowa Creek Sporting Center, Peak Roofing, Sapphire Construction, Remax Cliff Hancock, Colorado Family Life Center, Flippin' Flapjacks, that's flippinflapjacksllc.com. And that came out of nowhere. So we were planning on barbecue, and then it swipes in with Dan, right? And he's like, I want to donate, breakfast. I'm like, hold on a second. I've had their stuff, right? They came into the cowboy church at the end of the rodeo, and the efficiency. I've never seen so many people fed so fast good food. Yeah, like it is a system, and I don't even know how to explain it. It's basically it's a
railroad track that drops 4 pancakes in a row times 12 rows.
And man, they're
Unreal.
just cranking. And people are just rolling through and picking up flapjacks as quick as they can, and it's not like there's a big pause. Yeah. So, and it's like, you're always like, is it good? And I mean, so you know Jake, and I'm not gonna dime you out with your last name. He was on some kind of special diet. I think he went back 3 times. I'm like, hold on. He's like, yeah, we're doing a different thing.
Day off.
So anyways, when he said that, I'm like, oh, for lunch, let's do it. He's like, yeah, we've done it for dinner. And I'm like, I get it, man. Breakfast for dinner is like on point. Anyways, he comes out, really appreciate that, and then donated that to the cause, and that whole check, 100% of those proceeds go to Turning Point USA. So that's fantastic. You know, Remax, if you're looking for a home, Cliff Hancock's my guy, man. That dude's an awesome dude. He's in, you know, working with me in ministry. He was there last night at the Turning Point thing, posting up, making sure everything was safe. Awesome dudes. Sapphire Construction, my buddy Alan. I just saw his picture because he was standing there at that thing we got out of that shovel. Back in the day, he was on the actual, so the article that was written pro us, the only one that said the truth about what was going on, he was front and center. And I mean, he was hot daddy mad in this dude's face that he easily could have squashed. You talk about meekness. This guy's like, you're a coward and you're blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Jimmy, I'm like, stop. Just come over, proud of you, brother. Don't fumble the football for everybody. He's like, roger that. Dialed it back in, self-control, and that we won that day. It was legit. And now people look back on it like there are men that stand, period. That's the deal, right? There's certain things you don't cross with our kids, and you just found the line, right? And they haven't forgotten that. It's actually coming back around because there's elections going on right now. Peak Roofing has been at my house today, actually. Nice. My daughter calls, she goes, hey, Rich was asking if you're around. I'm like, is he stuck on the roof? And I call him, and he's like, no, brother, I just had another question for you. Okay, we talked about that. Brother, it seems like I'm not even off the sugar high from the last thing, and the next thing pops up, right? So last night it was the event at the Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance, and we just had a ton of good dudes just posting up and make sure that thing went right, you know. And my daughter,
it was
17,
his birthday, right?
Yeah, okay. His birthday. My daughter's up there talking and very eloquently talking as a 17-year-old, and she's just gorgeous and looks like her mama. She's just up there getting after it, and you're just like, you know, it is good. And the littles are watching that. The littles, like Sarah is 15 and taller than me now. Yeah. She's taller than everybody in the family, right? It's like, what? Gorgeous. And they're just watching her. Like Becca's leading the way, and they're going to find their way. Yeah. And it's just amazing. Super cool. So you said you bought a book today, How to Fish?
Yeah, I bought a book about a fish, either how to fish or how to love it. I'm excited to read it. It gets here Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I know the backstory. We've talked about it on many podcasts.
Yes, yes.
You and the kiddos sketching out storylines and figuring out how to put the book together.
I'm excited to hear from the adults.
Book number 2, by the way.
Right? What's up, author?
Watch out, Jack Carr. Coming for you.
Coming for you, brother. Oh, he's got a new one out, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? Something
Cry
Havoc. Now, amazing. Everybody had these packages, and Rich just gets into it. So he had a Randall fighting knife in there, and I mean that thing you can't really get them. So they're really just a sought after deal. And he had that in there. I think a bottle of bourbon. Not a bourbon guy, but I guess it's a good one. And then he had that knife and the book. And that book, somehow he knew, he's like, I got a feeling, you know, period correct, that knife was going to be in there when it talks about his dad back in the day. So the tie-in of, you know, that book, that knife, and all this package in a Yeti cooler, which they're not giving those things away, but he is. But just awesome. So it was cool to tie all that together, and I enjoy the Jack Carr. You turned me on to those, right? The Jack Carr thing.
I remember when I read it the first time, the terminal list.
Yeah.
I was like, Jimmy, you need to, well, not read it, listen to it, because he uses the same language.
Yes.
Shocker, you guys are both in SEAL teams.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is stuff we've heard or learned pieces of.
I enjoy those because you're seeing things like when
technically accurate.
Yeah. When you see things, and I just don't know. I'm sure if people know a lot about the SEAL teams, they'd pick it up. But a lot of that, you're like, oh, I see what you did there. You know, some stuff's subtle, some stuff's pretty overt. But they're a good time because I think a lot of us sit around and be like, what if, like, you know, like even on missions and all that kind of stuff, you take those pieces that didn't quite go that way, but what if it did? And just sit there, there's a lot of fun in that, but to have the discipline to sit down and actually do it, and to do it well where it's an enjoyable story, it's fantastic. Like this guy, you know, Blaze is a storyteller, Jack Carr is a storyteller, and stories are powerful, right? To engage people. Real quick, and this is just totally off topic, but not really. You know who Louis L'Amour is?
I'm like Western art.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't even know, hundreds of books. My dad, I think, read them all. Yeah. And for whatever reason, I listened to a Louis L'Amour book because it just popped into my mind because I was watching something. I'm like, this is garbage TV. And I was like, I'm just going to, listen to a book before I go to bed. And I was like, Westerns, Louis L'Amour. So I just popped one in. It was a free one, started listening to it. Literally the next day, a pastor buddy of mine was like, he brings up Louis L'Amour. I'm like, brother, I haven't heard that name in 30 years. Why do you even bring that up? He's like, I've read all of these. Chris Grubel, great guy. And he's like, the values in these, they're just good. And I didn't really think about that. So I started the Sacketts, if you heard of that, the Sackett series. And it's similar to Yellowstone in that it's generational. You hear about who was Barnabas Sackett, the first Sackett back in England when you're talking about swords and flintlocks.
Okay.
And how did they start the voyage to America so that it would lead up to these cowboy stories that you're reading. And it's just awesome because I've said this and it's going to be in my next book that I'm kind of writing in my head and I take notes, is that character leads to credibility. I said character builds credibility, builds legacy. But do we think like that anymore? Nope. Like I know there's been some legacy stuff within your family and I've been blessed to be a part of that, right? To where it's like, what are you doing here? Like how are you going to be remembered? Well, if you don't have credibility, if you don't have character, you're not going to be credible. Like people aren't going to say like, yeah, that's a good dude and I trust him. Like with my life and with my family and all that stuff. Because when we're not here anymore, what's the legacy we're going to leave behind? Like dude was kind of a train wreck. He drank too much and then just died and nobody missed him. Like Charlie Kirk, the world hurt. Yeah. That's a legacy. That's a legacy that needs to be retaught. Like not through a book, through my life, right? So I love the fact that when you look at that, you're talking about these men that aspired to be men and they just didn't compromise their integrity, whatever that looked like. And the women who put up with them, right? And were tough in their own right, but beautiful and tough and all this stuff. And it's just really good. So it's something, if your kids are spending too much time on video games and garbage TV, consider it.
There you go.
And there's another thing called How Do You Love a Fish? I guess is where this started was, here's the answer by the way, how do you love a fish? According to its needs. Nice. So we extrapolate that on how to take care of each other to the best of our ability and love each other according to their needs. But there's also lessons in that. I can't wait to hear from the adults that don't know how to shake a hand and look people in the eye, that don't say, please and thank you, sir and ma'am, may I please have, that say, gimme, I'll take, I'll have. Bro, that's not how you talk to people, right? So it's just stories through cartoon form that says, how about we take another crack at 11 different values and show them? Like, how will they know if we don't show them? Show them.
I can't wait to see that book.
Awesome.
I know we've covered every chapter.
Oh yeah, you'll know it inside and out and you'll be like, yep, there it is. Just for the record.
I will have seen it like, when we do these adventures and Christian through the years at the campfires, I guarantee I've seen these lessons develop. I've seen it in action.
Yeah.
Probably with my own boy.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. What a great opportunity. All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, guys. That's a wrap on this one. We're going to get a couple, at least in the can, popping pretty soon. But please check it out. So the Return of Man. And here's where God led me on this, and I saw it kind of after the fact. There's a quote, you guys have heard me say it many times, from Frederick Douglass. It is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Wow, it is easier, not easy, it's easier to raise strong children the first time than repair broken men that are full of guilt. I shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't, all this stuff over here. But where do we start? I say both simultaneously. So on this side, the return of man. Christmas is coming up, but any young man that you know, any older man that are lacking in purpose, consider it the return of man. Right? The subtitle is America's Only Hope is in our original hope. And you're like, oh, you mean man? I mean Jesus, right? The man that Jesus built that guy to be, we need him yesterday. Especially like vets, I've been focused on that quite a bit. Vets, that thing that got you to sign up, we need that kind of leadership again today, but it must be mature, it must be excellence, not all the garbage that the military put into you. The good stuff, taking that, keep the meat, eat the meat, spit out the bones. On the other end, how do we invest in our next generation? That's the how do you love a fish. These values are good values, and they need to know it. And if you're not telling them, then they won't know. Right? Love you guys. God bless each and every one of you. Till we see you again, take care of one another. All right, guys, a special thank you to Able Nation. What's Able Nation? Able Nation was born years ago to provide financial assistance to churches, schools, civic groups. We say specifically to protect children, but it's really anybody. It's just saying that some people don't have funds to do that. We stepped in financially as a community and became a solution for that. So learn more at able-nation.org. Thanks, guys. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Please be sure to follow us and support us on all of the social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of that starts by visiting ableshepherd.com.